Bottom left side of this TvZ in Wings of Liberty mode. Are you all ready for some Broodlord Infestor? This man probably ain't. It's Bunny in the bottom left from Team NV. And the top left hand side, our purple Zerg player is soO. So this is Wings of Liberty. We're going to play Wings of Liberty maps. It's Wings of Liberty straight up. This is live Wings of Liberty. So it's all Wings of Liberty-esque. And soO's going to go extract a trick, which was a little bit more viable back then with low drone counts. And there we go. Here on Tal'Darim Malta will be our starting map, as this is 5 maps all played, every map worth prize money here as we get this going. There's no way there's variety now in SE2. I mean, Wings of Liberty was literally... I mean, you can argue different eras, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be Wings of Liberty, but... At the end of the day in Wings of Liberty, there was one TvZ opening. That was good to do. All proxy racks. And there was way less variety in compositions. And Zergs just built queens into Broodlord Infestor. Protoss would forge fast expand every single game versus Zerg. I honestly cannot believe people who think there was more variety in Wings of Liberty. I honestly think you need to go back and kind of look at the games. And then I'm not talking about like the very start of Wings of Liberty, because obviously people, the game was new and a lot was different then. And, you could have wild stuff all the time. But in a settled meta, so when Wings of Liberty kind of came to a close and Heart of the Swarm came out, I think it's very hard to argue that Wings of Liberty was more varied than Legacy of the Void is right now, No Widow Mines, guys. Yep, no Widow Mines. So yeah, major units that are missing in this matchup. No Vipers. No Widow Mines. You need to research Siege mode to be able to siege your tanks. No Cyclones. No Liberators. No Lurkers. No Ravagers. You have to play probably Lingbane Muta for the most part here. Yeah, typically you play Lingbane Muta. The way TvZ used to work is... The way it used to work is typically you would do some kind of expanders of the Terran, and you would go into like 4 or 6 Hellions, and then you would go into like a little siege tank push, and then you would kind of pull back home and get a 3rd online. That was kind of earlier day Wings of Liberty. I guess later on Wings of Liberty, you did have the Bomber 3cc, so kind of, super greedy 3cc double engineering bay, and Zergs would try and bust that down and stuff. That was kind of later Wings of Liberty kind of idea, so... And there's a couple of options here from Bunny. Zergs, again, typically playing Lingbane Muta. Pure Lingbane was not really a thing in Wings of Liberty. So yeah, couple different ideas there. And yeah, does Wings of Liberty have Ruin Infestors? Yes, so Infestors, not only does the fungal growth lock units in place, it doesn't slow them, it locks them in place, it also insta-casts. So there's no projectile, so you can't split versus the fungal. The fungal, the moment it's clicked, the units are locked in place. SCV's just been on a little bit of a scout around, nothing too spectacular early. As we have these few Marines, they move to the watchtower, but nothing else there. And soO for the moment is left droning. Obviously, we like to keep his injects going. Of course, macro mechanics were different back then as well. Injects cannot stack in Wings of Liberty like they can now. So nowadays you can queue injects. So obviously that doesn't really matter early game, but it means that you can pull your queens all together at the front. And, nowadays you could just stack injects and pull all your queens together. Back in Wings of Liberty, that wasn't a thing. So yeah, injects are a bit different. You also get more lava off of an inject, right? So you believe you get 4 lava off an inject instead of just 3? Is that the way around it is? We can sit here and watch. Someone probably knows for sure, but... Yeah, more lava pops off the hatchery when the inject goes off. So injects work differently as well. And there you can see, yeah, that was 4 lava, right? Pretty sure. So yeah, things just changed a lot as we do see that SCV getting shot down by a couple of queens trying to scout. And it is double Evo chamber from soO. I'm trying to think if... I'm pretty sure Lingbane Ultra was more of like a... Heart of the Swarm style, but it is possible it was still a thing kind of towards... Because, I mean, Ender Wings of Liberty, people really did... There's no reason not to play Broodlord and Fester. I'm trying to think if with Broodlord and Fester you would go double upgrades as Zerg as we're kind of seeing here. I feel that potentially leaves you quite vulnerable. Bunny needs to do something aggressive because you can just see that soO is just drawing like crazy and there's not been anything to slow him down. And that means that if the Terran player doesn't do something soon to force units, then actually there's going to be kind of a big problem in play. The Queens will move forward and they are going to drop down a few creep tumors. And of course, one of the big things about Wings of Liberty as well is that creep spread just wasn't the same. You know, people just weren't as good at creep spread. So actually, creep spreading back in Wings of Liberty, people were just worse at it. And that's something which a lot of things were changed around. As players got better and players improved, Blizzard changed things which were like, hey, look, you know, creep tumors, they work a bit differently now. Obviously, back in here, they're armored, they're not light, they can be cancelled as well, actually, if they are moving out the front, they can be cancelled. Oh, these Marines are going to get caught. They're going to sit on the ramp, though, and not going to pull back. Queens will drop a transfusion. The Ling's trying to get us around again. It's a good amount of bio, though, in that corner, really helping. Could really do with the medevacs, though, as these Lings get forward one more time. We will stim once again. This is going to be a push forward, and Bunny looking to punish soO for maybe just droning a little bit too much. We'll get rid of all this creep, and here are the medevacs just on time to help out with this as all of this creep gets cleaned out. Alley upgrades close to finishing. Once we get there, obviously that's way better for soO. That's going to be a major helping hand, but getting there feels a little bit tough. Just moving into Bane speed, and it does feel like soO's playing a very modern-day ZVT style into Aspire, which is something soO likes to do. I would be surprised if he didn't play Lane Bane Muta, because, like I say, it's kind of good in this era of the game. And soO just kind of is a bit of a Ling Bane Muta guy anyways. Yeah, Queen Transfusion's different as well, by the way. 125 heal straight up, and no healing over time. So very powerful, chunky heals off the Queens. That was something that was introduced to kind of nerf the Queens a little bit. So in certain scenarios, eventually you still get the same amount of healing, but in big kind of instantaneous scenarios, there's not quite as much healing all at once. It was a way to try and balance out the Queen transfusions. When was this match played? Right now. This is live. I know some people in Twitch chat can't comprehend the fact that games happen live in this day and age, but they do. It is amazing. When the first person asked that earlier today, literally 3 people in chat were like, yeah, it's a replay. I'm like, why? Like, if you don't know, why are you answering, huh? Medevac's lifting up a couple units here. The double drop in action getting going, and now going to be seeing a couple drones going down. The tank got sieged up in the back, and this was kind of defended from soO, so this doesn't do too much. soO, what is this base? He's expanding to his opponents. Okay. There used to be fights around like positions like this. I remember when I played, I had a fight in like a base on this base once against Broodlords. I don't know if I was on my own base and I was cornered in or something. His Bunny, I think, is asking well, maybe why he's taking this base over here. And yeah. Is that a taunt? Asks Bunny. Okay, well, these guys are having fun at least, as soO says there's no base to expand to. I mean, that's kind of true, because to get to this base over here, you have to go all the way around, right? So one of the negatives of this spawning location on Tal'Darim Altar is, yeah, it's very difficult to get across over here. Like, look at this corner you have to turn. That's why the meters need to come into play. That's why the meters need to be kind of a big feature here. They need to be able to shut down these drops to give you the map control to get that kind of base up. Yeah, actually, this is where map spawns are kind of a big deal, in fact, because even if soO just spawned on this side, on this corner, they're still kind of close by ground, but it would have been very different as these tanks do get sieged. The Lings trying to get through the tanks, and one of the 3 will go down. The medevac's kind of low. Bunny's army moving through. But yeah, if they spawned over here, soO could have gone 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. Of course, his natural would have been pointing toward the Terran, and then we can start discussing why 4-player maps aren't very good. By the way, Bunny, no +1 attack, only an armor upgrade, but this 2-2 finish from soO, so his units are extremely dangerous when it comes to those upgrades right now. Very tanky, and that's kind of a big deal. As Bunny will just sit on this group spread with his couple of tanks and just try and hold this position. We just want to come in from the left-hand side. Marines just getting picked out. A few of the Lings and the Banes coming in from the top. The Queens on the right. Here we go as the tank fire begins. And we do have our Marines splitting backwards. A few more Banelings getting picked off. The Marines getting caught, and soO is just going to overwhelm. 2-2 against 1-0. And even then, it's not even 1-0, it's 0-1, right? I mean, the upgrade is the wrong way around. And oh no, Medivacs can't boost home to safety, so it's a full cleanup as well. Oh, man. It is. Lings just going to sit in the low ground here and just going to be readying ourselves. I think a push in and maybe try and end the game. soO has got a bit of money not being spent right now. I wonder if that's just the lateness of the 4th base coming back to bite him a little bit here. Bunny's work count very good, by the way. That's 65 SCVs, 67 drones, and again, that's just that 4th base not being up for a long time. soO's going to attack in off creep. Bunny's siege tank already dead, so these Banes are going to get through, no problem. Banes catching the reinforcements as well, and oh god, feels like they are kind of move commanding forward there, as Bunny is going to get overwhelmed, and soO is going to pick up the 1-0 lead in this 5-game series. And Bunny is going to tap out, and soO is going to take game 1 of this best of 5. A 2-base all-in and Wings of Liberty would last forever. You could be like 20 minutes 2-base and still have mining. That's something that definitely changed, for sure. For the better as well. It really did. It was one of the successful things I think we did, which was able to push a lot of the focus on the game towards taking faster expansions and taking other expansions. I think that was actually a pretty big stepping stone forward in StarCraft 2. Allowing people to, making people take more bases meant that you could obviously have a lot more action around the map, a lot more hit squads and stuff. soO's bottom right, he leads this 5-game series 1-0. Top left, our blue Terran player Bunny. See, oh ho 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 ho! We haven't seen a proxy Rex yet. Ooh. The really cool thing about Proxy Rex back in the day of Wings of Liberty was that you had choices as to how aggressive it would be. So this is going to be 10-10. You could go like 13-12, I believe, at points. You could go like 11-11 was very popular. This is 10-10, so it's very committed. You're cutting workers very early on here. It feels quite far away, though. I guess we'll see how it works. Two barracks on the left side. soO scouts right. He does not scout left. Is it possible this Overlord gets caught in the middle of nowhere? Because obviously the timing of this is very different to what you're used to now as soO. So that Overlord's very likely going to be exposed when soO's not used to it being exposed. And then you lose an Overlord, and maybe that has a knock-on effect to the success of this. Very possible. This Overlord's going to see this SCV coming. I wouldn't even really say from an odd angle, right? Kind of from across the map. He does turn a little bit in this direction. He's not going to see it right away. He's going to see the Marine and the SCV. And you can see this SCV over here can absolutely start a bunker already. That Overlord will take some shots. Got a little chasm it can hide on. Does the Marine want to stop to fight that Overlord? Looks like no. We're going to go forward. Of course, defending Proxy Rex back in Wings of Liberty was very different, but nowadays, we know pulling the drones is something that happens a lot, and that's what we're going to do instantly here is soO. His spawning pool not yet finished, so he's got a long time to run around with these drones. The SCVs are going to turn to fight. Marines, 3 of them means we 2-shot drones, but we do need that target fire to be good. Starting to get a few of these kills. The bunker is not going up during this, as we are continuing to get a lot done. Honestly, a lot of drones going down. First Zerglings popping out, I believe. Yeah, 4 of them are now ready. SCVs would love to get up here and finish up this bunker, as there's going to be a couple of Marines. 3 Marines against these Zerglings could possibly win this fight. The bunker looks as though it is going to finish. Uh-oh. Marines want to go get in that bunker. Everything wants to get in the bunker, and they do. Huge moment. It's out of range of the hatchery, but it is still a position to get back into. A couple of Marines here going to try and maybe use the line of sight blockers to their advantage. Obviously can't get to the bunker just yet. And that is a frustration as extra Marines are showing up. Good micro from Bunny. Really good micro from Bunny. Here's the Queen to put some damage out, and this is soO's attempt to break now before too many Marines are here. SCV's jumping back out, trying to repair, trying to buy time in the bunker. The Marines are fighting the Overlord on the low ground. They're going to lose high ground vision, though, so they're not going to be able to finish up that kill. And that Overlord is going to slip away for the moment. Well then. 11 drones from soO. Bunny has now started an expansion back at home. Remember, he cuts SCVs heavily to be able to do this. Nowadays, with the proxy racks, you're pretty much always having like a macro follow-up because you're just building SCVs behind it, right? Unless you go 3 racks or something crazy like 4 racks and SCV pull. But yeah, this is a this is going to be, as these couple of barracks float back home, this is just going to be a later CC then from Bunny in the end, and it's kind of feeling like it might come out all being even across the board, right? Doesn't feel like there's going to be anything all too crazy on the go here at the end of it. 2 more barracks on the way, though. That's interesting. So we're going to have 4 racks in total? Excuse me a moment. Just having to think about what we do with the 4 racks. It's very aggressive, right? Lots of potential pressure through. Lots of attacking, lots of just not stopping. Definitely feels like one of those moments where, yeah, well done. No ling speed, by the way, from soO. He doesn't have gas yet in the game, so the timing of the racks and everything happening just means he hasn't mined gas. Or even taken gas, so it'll be a long time until he gets ling speed. Stim is 170 seconds on the research time. And again, those are Blizzard seconds, but you're then going to compare that to, I believe it's 140-second ling speed, I think. Find out when soO gets 100 gas. What's 140? I think it's 140, but who knows, I suppose. You guys remember how long ling speed took in Wings of Liberty? Twitch chat, save me. My guess is 140. Oh, it's 110 in Wings of Liberty. Huh. I thought 110 was Legacy of the Void. I'm going crazy, aren't I? It's like something, it's like 80-something in Legacy, right? 110, okay. 140 actually would be kind of ridiculous. Yes, they changed the game time. I already explained this in the first series of the day, but the seconds are in Blizzard seconds. So Blizzard seconds, because StarCraft 2 is played on faster, Blizzard seconds are basically, if the game was played on normal, seconds would be real. But because the game's already played on faster, the seconds got sped up. Obviously, that's really dumb because everyone plays on faster. It's not like we just increased the game speed. But yeah, that was fixed in Legacy, I believe. That was another Legacy fix. So yeah, seconds nowadays are real seconds. These are Blizzard seconds. So when it says we've been in game for 10 minutes, we've actually been in game for like 7.5, 8 minutes or so, something like that. It's a weird one, guys. It's a little strange. So yeah, it's pretty pretty funny, as you do see Bioforce pushing down. Again, the creep is great. This is something you never really had to contend with as much back in Wings. That was the factory only just coming through now. All the upgrades on this Bioforce as we push forward. Very possible that we clean out a lot of creep and we have a great fight. Bane Nest isn't ready. Lings don't have 1-1. This is a very winnable fight, I think, for Bunny, who is going to stim. soO's just going to run down and fight this, and he's going to lose a lot of Lings. He is not ready for this attack at all. Now as Lings spawn, they're going to just die as they go, and that's the Bane Nest to the north side, so that's something which Bunny can just kill off here. The drones start pulling in. That ain't looking pretty. The Evo chambers are exposed. Both the queens go down and sing GG's, and Bunny makes this 1-1 as soO is unprepared for the Biostim combat shield push. That. Man. StarCraft 2 is wild. How did StarCraft 2 change so much? I'm conflicted which way around to put these guys on the scoreboard, because, like, this is, like, left versus right and very slightly top versus bottom. Like, soO is higher than Bunny, so maybe he should be on the top, but I usually go left to right on the scoreboard, so it's like Bunny's on top. Oh, I don't like these spawns. In the top right side, or it's not really the top right, it's the far right side of Metropolis, we get cross spawns here. It is soO. I wonder if this is forced cross spawns. There used to be forced cross spawns, but also sometimes there's forced crossed and like long spawns, long background. There was a time where you could play short background, like for a very short amount of time. That got removed pretty quickly because that was freaking terrible, as Bunny is the blue Terran player here on the far left side of the map. So yeah, this is the infamous, I talked about this, so sorry if I'm repeating myself if you watched the earlier series, but obviously new people joining the stream. This is the infamous MVP versus Squirtle map. Mothership flies in from the bottom right side, drops the Vortex on all the BCs, and a game that MVP thought was going to win him the GSL goes the other way, and again made that series absolutely timeless. It's a moment that I think probably on like at least top 10 moments for a lot of people in StarCraft 2. And like I say, definitely an iconic moment in StarCraft 2, if nothing else. Well, slow going starts, as we expect in the Wings of Liberty era. I'm just waiting for something fun to talk about maybe in the next few moments, just catching up on chat a little bit. I want to see soO abuse Infest a Broodlord at least one time though, you know? I just want to see a Broodlord infest one time. That'd be nice, no? A little bit of the real kind of real Rings of Liberty experience. That'd be cool. Are we gonna play any of the funky old maps? No. I mean, the maps, we've already seen the maps that we're gonna be playing on today. It's only a 5-map pool, so the 3 maps that have been played in this, plus Daybreak, plus... what else did we play? I forgot what the other one is. Is it possible for everyone to play Wings of Liberty? Yeah, you just you go to settings, you go to game mode, you click Wings of Liberty, and then you host a custom game. You can't play... oh yeah, Cloud Kingdom, thank you guys. But you can only play it in custom games. They did take down the Wings of Liberty and Heart the Swarm ladder. It caused more issues than it was worth. Oh my god, there's a GSL sign on the map. Oh, that's cool. I think that one of the main reasons they removed Wall and Hot's ladder was that people would just have GM borders from those ladders, and obviously those were meaningless, and you know, would just kind of make things complicated. It just didn't really make sense, right? Obviously, it didn't make sense to keep supporting those ladders when barely anyone was using them as well, so... They removed it when free-to-play happened? Oh, was that really when they did it? It just made it more common sense, right, as well? Like, it just made sense, I suppose. Aliens are going to load into the medevac, and I'd say they're going to go boost across the map and get some action done, but obviously it's a slow path across to the other side here on Metropolis. Cross spawns, obviously the watchtower is being held, means that medevac will be spotted from a long way away. Actually, no, it's Bunny's Marines on the watchtower, so he's been actively fighting for those watchtowers so that he can make sure he's able to get across unseen. He is now building Banshee's Cloak. And I wonder if this, I mean, obviously one base for the moment. I wonder how long he sticks on one base for. Gun loads in the corner, and soO is not ready to deal with this Hellion run by. In we go. Drones are going to get, I was going to say roasted, but first shot wasn't exactly spectacular, as there seems to be no units out to defend this. The Lings out on the map, and these Hellions doing what they can. We could lift up and go to the natural here. Wow, Hellions having a great start. 8 workers killed, and all still alive. Problem is, soO is up 15 workers anyway, and now drops a Roach Warren down. Well, good news for Bunny is that one helps soO against the Banshee, at least, as the Marines continue to fight for watchtower control. So Bunny holding all the map control, if nothing else. That is a little bonus here. Unless medevac is actually going to get all the Hellions back home, which is nice to keep those up and running for later on. So you just starts 1-1 missile upgrades, gets that, like I say, roach drone already down, and just continuing through with that. And obviously making some slow progress through these rocks to eventually open that up and make way to that hatchery on that upper right-hand corner. Su's worker count just popped straight back up as well, as here comes the Banshee. No Spore Crawl already, so Banshee's going to start having a good time. Banshee, one of the units which hasn't been changed too much in and of itself. Obviously, Hyperflight Rotors was introduced at some stage, and maybe cloaking cost and actual cost of the Banshee was changed a bit, but it still just moves in, 2 shots drones, and gets 7 kills here so far to start off with. Good damage dealt, and that is going to keep Su within 13 workers of his opponent. The second Banshee, though, flew in and took some damage from Queens for free, so unfortunately the 2 Banshees together not do too much yet. Important to keep those alive, because it's going to be a Roach build. If roaches start running across the map, you bet you're going to want to have a... yeah, nice kill on the Overseer. You bet you're going to want to have Banshees to help pick those roaches off, right? So I imagine that's going to be a big part of how we set up at the moment. When he killed a billion workers, still down 15. Honestly, I mean, he didn't even... Considering the Hellions got in and there was no units to defend, the fact he only killed 8 initially is kind of, you know... kind of bad. And you then got to remember he delayed his own expansion to do it. That's why he's behind on workers right now. That's why he is currently trailing. We're going to see a couple of Banshees get repaired up, so they're going to be back. Spire now on the way from Su, so all that investment into roaches, and he's eventually going to go Spire anyway. Let's start switching to the melee upgrade here, and I'm pretty sure that's not something we saw as much of in Wings of Liberty, these kind of severe tech switches, as we do see the Hellions are back. 3 more drones going down, so got a little bit of extra damage done. And siege mode is producing, guys. That's not a siege tank. That is siege mode. If you didn't see it earlier, Bunny forgot that you need to research siege mode against trap. And obviously that's a useful upgrade to have if you're planning on building siege tanks and sieging them up across the map. So yes, siege mode being researched before your tanks can siege up. Before your tanks can be good, you've got to have an upgrade for them. Who knew? Hellions coming around, trying to roast a couple drones. He gets a little drop with the stim in. But he's doing pretty good with these drops and stuff. And Su getting a little bit caught off guard, honestly, in a lot of these moments. And this is actually a big deal. We might kill the spawning pool here. We'll get rid of link production. Obviously, at least you can still build roaches. There's the big transfusion. No healing over time. Just one chunky 125 HP heal. Screens do get through and they do chase the medevacs away. Meters do chase the Banshees away, and obviously seeing the meters is a good sign for Bunny. He's actually getting ready to push, and could have a pretty deadly push on his hands. Obviously still on 2 bases, but taking, you know, going up to 3 bases later is not a bad thing in this era of StarCraft 2. Is that the boys? Oh, that's the boys. Okay. There are banelings being made. This isn't just Muta Roach. It is a switch into kind of Ling Bane, and I think that's what Bunny is maybe not quite expecting to play against, because SCVs will not tank banelings very well. As we push, the Mutas come in, the Marines are going to stim. Tanks will siege up, and those banelings getting busted down. SCVs trying to get to the frontiers. The Mutas are trying to get rid of the tanks. 1 tank remains, not currently sieged, as Bunny has a little army supply lead here. Going for the Evo Chamber, which is upgrading. Denies the +2 carapace. Moving into the natural. He's going to find himself maybe a bunch of these OVs to kill off. Supply blocking Su could be a great way to go about this. There's a cool little pickup on the tank, by the way, considering there's no medevac boost. Getting medevacs to like lift up and save a unit is pretty impressive, as we are going to be seeing us moving up the ramp into the main base. That's where the tank is as well. The Muta's all dead. And that tank, it does go down now, but Bunny controls the high ground. Still about a 10 army supply lead. Not very many workers left from Bunny. He needs to win the game with this attack as Roaches are being made to try and clean this up. The Banshee will go down. The Queen gets a final shot off. Bunny sieges the tank on the low ground. Just needs like another shot or so off on Roaches just to help soften them up. These reinforcing Roaches are going to make life difficult, I think, for Bunny, although it's actually a really cool tank position. It really does stop the units from moving up the ramp into the main base from the natural expansion. There is the, scans to just try and keep that going. We are killing off the main base lair. There's the tank shot. Roaches, I mean, they just don't take that much from tanks in this day and age, apparently. And as we are going to set up a second tank, though, and supplies in terms of army are still even here. And now 2 tanks are covering this ramp, so now the Roaches might get blasted a little bit harder. As they get down to the low ground, there's only 1 tank in range. Bunny will be forced to lift up, and man, it feels so weird to see lifts. And then units just, the Medivacs like slowly flying away instead of boosting away. I find that so surprising. There's just the Marines all gathering up. And our Medivacs, well, still have this. Obviously, there's no Ravagers, so you can't morph in Ravagers to Corrosive Bile down the tank. So there's also no negative to really keeping your tanks stacked up like this. And that's something that in this day and age, stacking the tanks like this would be like a big no-no. Here in Wings of Liberty, you can actually do this a little bit more comfortably as the Roaches trying to get on top of these tanks to clean them up. Bunny's still just about ahead in army supply, but he is going to lose some of these siege tanks here, which is obviously very important for continuing through because now he's got no splash damage on this side of the map. Has he got enough army to make it work? It feels as though soO is able to build enough Roaches to make the difference here. Bunny will take down a Queen, will get a Roach on the high ground, while Roaches running up this ramp to try and fight. Going to be seeing the Marines loading and going to the low ground here into the tank moving forward. soO on 4 bases of 53 drones. Obviously a 30 worker lead. Bunny's been able to trade great in this game. It just hasn't mattered because he just isn't mining enough. GG is called. He can't break through, and soO's Roaches are enough to hold on to push him to a 2-1 lead. In the bottom left hand side, the Blue Zerg player. This is soO. And has got a 2-1 lead on the back of some pretty entertaining and different styles of CVT so far. On the top right, Red Terran player Bunny. Let's see what's going to happen here. In map number 4, here in Wings of Liberty. This is an Olimoleague, by the way. We just like to take a quick moment to say check out the Olimoleague Patreon. If you're on Twitch, you can ! Olimoleague to find out more about the Olimoleague. And it will take you to the Patreon page, which is patreon.com/Olimoleague. OLIMOLEY. I had to stop for a second and think if I'd spelled it right. And obviously, any support on the Olimoleague Patreon does help the Olimoleague to continue happening. This tournament is fully funded by the fans. So if you enjoy these fun, different formats, then do support the Olimoleague on Patreon to make sure that you can get more of these fun, different, funky formats in the future. Now, if you're not a Wings of Liberty person and you don't know Cloud Kingdom, you might recognize this map. We've had a few maps based upon this map in the past. Eternal Empire was the more recent one. Base, forward base, low ground. Eternal Empire also had a base up here. It was much more kind of macro favored, as all maps are in this day and age. I mean, this was a killer macro map, and it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just about 6 bases per player. That's like, nowadays that's a small map. Eternal Empire was like a buffed up, more kind of more like modern day friendly version of Cloud Kingdom. But there was also a map called, I believe, Galactic Process. That was also very much so based on the Cloud Kingdom layout. This idea of this snaking S-shaped kind of high ground in the middle of the map. Comes all the way around here. Galactic Process actually had an avenue down the right-hand side that you guys might remember it by. And it led into a low-ground base over here, then the high ground. But it was like a backdoor entrance to the natural that had rocks. And it had a very similar base layout as well. I think it actually had base here, then a base here on the bottom of the ramp. So this ramp was like crushed in a bit more this way. And then, in fact, I think it might have been... No, yeah, I think there's like the ramp was a bit more over here, then there was a base low ground here, and there was another base high ground up here. And there was even, I believe, a gold base like in the middle of the map over here, so like maybe like here on Galactic Process. That was a map that was in the map pool for, I think, only one season towards the start of Legacy of the Void. I think about 1 year deep into Legacy of the Void, maybe. So, yeah, there's been a few maps which have kind of had that Cloud Kingdom kind of inspiration, you know, that inspiration of, hey, look, this map is, you know, kind of based, you know, this was a very standard map, it was a very good map, and people have just built on the top of this map, basically, to make maps in the future. Half of all maps on Lattice since the release have been variants of Cloud Kingdom. Take Abyssal Reef. Abyssal Reef? Really? I don't see it. Well, maybe if you rotate it. I think to me what's very defining about Cloud Kingdom and some of the maps that I'm talking about is this kind of this high ground that's through the middle and connects around back over this way. I think specifically this high ground that runs in like an S shape, that to me is what's very like significant. That was a second overlord kill, by the way, which is why these guys are discussing. Nice job by Bunny, and says that he feels bad about it. Yeah, I mean, honestly, obviously maps are always going to be kind of based off of other maps and old maps and stuff, right, and updated for the modern era. You know, why change what isn't broken? You know, if something's good, it's, you know, it's easier to kind of make something or build on something that was good in the past than build something fresh, right? But yeah. Imagine playing against a Blinkolin on this map. Yeah, pretty brutal, especially just the extended main, right? It's like, you have to defend here, and you have to go all the way up, then along and down to defend the Stalkers blinking in. Definitely tough. I believe what you used to be able to do was, like, a tank or two here and here, and that would cover at least a lot of your main base. So you had at least a little bit of counterplay on this map. Compared to some of the others where there was just, you know, zero counterplay available at all. Blinkolins weren't a huge thing in Wings. It was more Heartless Swarm where Blinkolins really took over. That was because you had the Mothership Core, which provided the high ground vision, right? So when you brought units across the map, the Mothership Core is something you'd have anyway, and then, you know, you just blink up into the main base and stuff. Bring back Frost and Overgrowth. World Team League had Frost and Overgrowth in their map pool for the start of last season. And I can tell you right now, they were terrible. Did not work in the modern day map pool. Shock horror, I think we all kind of knew that already. Frost is way too big cross spawn, way too small horizontal vertical spawns. Overgrowth is actually just not a good map at all, I feel like. I really don't know why Overgrowth got as much love as it did. Definitely doesn't work in Legacy of the Void, though. Banshee shows up for a couple drones. Has not got a cloak, so this is just a cloakless Banshee. Seeing what it can get done in the world. The Hellions at the front do get pushed away at the moment. King Sejong Station was very good back in HOTS. Yeah, actually, King Sejong was a really cool map. Unfortunately, King Sejong doesn't work nowadays because of the because there's just too many units that do too well at bases pointing out, so your natural point into the middle of the map early is just rough. There was a map in a TLMC at one stage that tried to be like an updated version of King Sejong Station that was like built around modern day metagame and units. And it was actually okay. It wasn't bad. It actually did a pretty good job at kind of recreating that King Sejong vibe. It was cool. It just never got picked up for ladder or anything. That's all. Honestly, even if you take maps that were in Legacy of the Void like 5 years ago, or 4 years, or even 3 years ago, a lot of them just don't work with how the meta's changed and developed and stuff, and, you know, how some of the updates have been based around, so there's a reason that we always kind of prefer to go to new maps instead of bringing back old maps, because bringing back old maps sort of like stunts the kind of, you know, progress instead of like progressing it. It's going to be an 8 racks from Bunny off the 3 bases as he's already set up for some pressure over here. These lings going to get a wrap around, and that's going to be the Marines loading up and slowly evacuating away. Obviously, the size of this map and that forward 4th base is going to help Bunny quite a lot here to be able to keep being aggressive. Frank translating for us, Sue says, "Why is the Queen so strong?" And Bunny says, Queen is even the same strength and legacy of the Void. Wow. These guys. Combat Shield about to finish up. We did get Siege Mode, right? No, Bunny, you forgot to get Siege Mode. No, Bunny, you're forgetting the important upgrade that lets the tanks be the tanks. Oh, he starts it now. That's a classic. Siege Mode starts when the push arrives, because it's the first time you try to siege the tanks. Oh, we've got Infestors. Might get to see some some broken fungals here, as they need a little bit more energy to be able to get there initially. They will burrow. They can they cast fungal while burrowed as well? That I'm not sure about, as yeah, I think that's Bunny saying, siege. Yeah, siege mode is something you need, and Sue finds that pretty funny. And yeah, this is going to be kind of a little bit funky for Bunny, who's waiting for that siege mode to be done. But this is buying Sue a ton of time to get an energy on the Infestors. So Infestors just burrowing around, waiting for their chance to cast some fungal growths. Gonna pop back out the ground here and see what they can do. Looking for still a push forward. Tanks finally getting the chance to siege, and they will put some damage onto the Infestors. First fungal growth, surely, drop it. Come on, Sue, shows the fungal boom. Instant cast, instant hold. Again, you can't move units that are fungaled. So in we go, as Sue is going to rampage up this ramp, and well, he's going to have a good time. Really good free splits by Bunny, actually, is going to be the one thing that saves him a little bit here. And wow, Bunny actually taking a good fight. Oh my god, Infested Terrans! I've not seen those in a while. Hello! I completely forgot about you guys. Bunny actually has an army left over afterward. New round of Balin Star, no splash damage remaining. All of the siege tanks got removed in that last fight. You can see our Marines coming through again. Fungal that locks you down in location. The Broodman's coming in, and they're going to be able to chase forward as well. As we do we have a fungal to stop those medevacs getting away? We did not. Sue's expanded to the left side as well. Because obviously Bunny's still just on 3 bases, but those do last a long time in the Wings of Liberty economy. So it's not an immediate rush to get up off of 3 bases. You can kind of sit down and settle down on this at least for a little while here. And Bane's going to go running through, and they're going to go try and jump on top of this. The Bane's going to come across and try and catch these Marines, but off creep, it's kind of rough. And the splitting from Bunny is really, really good, my goodness. Even down on upgrades, he's winning these fights, and actually looks as though he's going to be good enough to, yeah, actually just knock down this hatchery, take that out, and wow, big plays from Bunny right now, showing up a little bit here in this game number 4. It's going to be seeing the, Omni Sue just really isn't holding out too well at the moment. Again, Bunny splits are the reason he's doing so well here, otherwise he would have been in a whole bunch more trouble for sure. So credit to Bunny where it's due. He's doing a great job of this. Those Infestors, though, can change everything. One big fungal growth, and that's going to be it. The units are locked down, and now the Bane's going to crash in. Is that going to do enough? Apparently not. Seems to be too powerful here from Bunny, as he does get rid of all the Infestors in that fight. There's another round of Balins ready. Can they change things? Doesn't seem like it. And Bunny is going to push across this left side base. GG says Sue. Bunny ties it 2-2 in this 5-game series. Top right side, our blue Zerg player here is Sue. And yeah, going to get all 5 games. I mean, obviously every map is meaningful because every map is worth prize money. It's always nice when it goes 2-2 because then it feels like this is it. This is the series. Who gets to win more money? Decided right now. In the bottom left, we do have our red Terran player. It is going to be Bunny. So yeah, I was getting a little bit confused about the Balins, but yes. I was trying to think about how Baneling's interacted with Storm, and for some reason I was just getting all the numbers wrong. But yeah, Baneling's got the HP buff in Legacy of the Void, not in Wings. So yeah, Baneling's definitely got a little bit better then. It's kind of wild. There's just so, I mean, obviously it's like 10 years ago, right? But there's just so many changes. That's pretty sick to think about everything that we've had happen. Obviously, there's things that aren't represented here that have happened in between that have come and gone. You get 75k points you can redeem and whine about playing in 2040. That's the real Twitch chat meta, guys. That's the real Twitch chat meta. Balance whining about the state of the game in 2030. Oh, you guys are funny. Hatch. Cool. Into a gas after. We're just going to be seeing a CC first from Bunny again, so something he seems pretty comfortable doing repeatedly. And yeah, just a reminder, we'll have Trap versus soO, some ZVP Wings of Liberty for you guys after this current matchup. So just a little reminder that that one is on the way. Yeah, guys, you can. I don't mind you all discussing balance as much today, because obviously we're just, you know, we're having an old tournament, and obviously something that's a pretty kind of apparent thing has changed that have happened since then, and how that changed balance and stuff. Just be reasonable with it, you know. Just be normal. Like, if you're just a normal person, you can be like, yeah, you know, and have a discussion. That's fine. It's when you start making a grand conspiracy theory that you're gonna get timed out. So you guys have a little bit more leeway today, but just be sensible with it, you know. Don't be overly kind of like, rah! As long as you aren't screeching, I think you guys are probably going to be okay. Mostly because at least today it's like a topic of conversation. Usually when we talk about balance, it's like, oh my god, this guy only wins because Zerg is busted. Rah! And then people complain, and then you get an argument, and that's all chat is, and then it's not fun for me to read and stuff. At least today it's relevant to the tournament. A whole bunch. Just gonna see Roach Rowan early from soO. 5 minutes is early, and he's getting extra OVs up. I believe we're gonna Roach Rush and try and win this game quickly. I'm trying to think what... I mean, honestly, one base Roach Rushes were kind of what I remember from Wings of Liberty, not this kind of two base Roach pressure kind of thing. Of course, you don't have Ravages to help you bust down defensive bunkers and so on, so keep that in mind. And this could be a cool way of just punishing, you know, Bunny, who has not really been building a Reaper to scout with or anything like that. His first scan will be Hellions, and just like in modern-day Legacy of the Void, if Hellions are what scout the Roaches, you're generally already in for a bad time. And even though this was one of the kind of macro maps, this is absolutely a map which is not the longest to get across from one side to the other, and you can already see Roaches coming through. Slow Lings are going to be the backup plan as well. It's kind of funny, soO is like somewhat floating gas, and I wonder if that's just him being like, oh yeah, I can make my Ravages. But no, you can't make Ravages. I wonder if this is just because he's like trying to translate a Legacy of the Void build into like modern, you know, I keep saying modern day, into these set of games. And it just doesn't work as well because that Legacy of the Void build just has a bit more gas. Because you're expecting to make Ravages. Look at this, he's hiding on the Watchtower and he's going to show up and he's going to get some Hellion kills. No, he doesn't get one actually. Alright, these Roaches going to run up the ramp, and SCVs are already evacuating. They don't quite get in the base as we do start to work on the depots on the low ground. soO behind this is making Ling speed. Marauder pops out. That's going to be pretty huge to help against these Roaches. Bunny's making a pretty reasonable defense here initially as the SCVs holding the high ground. Roaches are able to get through. We're just going to be having the Roaches coming all the way in. SCVs are continuing to pull into this as well. I mean, 22 SCVs left. I think this is okay for Bunny because he didn't lose any army. Like, if Bunny had lost army behind this, then this is obviously much worse, but with no third base up, Bunny is down about 11 workers, but his counterattack should be huge. He's got so much potential to deal damage still from this point, and that should be what sets him up in a great spot right now. Hellions running across the map. seeing the Hellions dropping into the main base. Roaches are gonna be there. Hellions gonna get picked off and just gonna be seeing the drop here actually denied at least. We are gonna get some drones at least on the natural, and it's just nice because it slows soO's worker count down. It allows Bunny to maybe be a little bit more okay in this, right? Just say, okay, I'm a little bit closer from the workers now. It's gonna help me out a whole bunch. Yo, Jumping Crack Base, thank you so much for the 5 gifted subs. You know, we've got a moment or two. They go out to Senior Lobo 8, AOD, CTS, NWW, Lightning Bolt, Spenzo144, and J Constant. Thank you so much for the generosity, mate, as always, and I hope you're doing great. Thank you so much for supporting the stream today. Lings, do you have a little run by in? It's only Marauders and a Marine here to defend because the Hellions are out on the map, so little Ling run by, gonna get some damage done, and yeah. Not huge amounts, but a couple SCVs, a Mule. There's a couple Lings just on the mineral line are putting in work for sure, so getting a lot out of that thus far. In fact, you're going to finish up the siege tank, and the siege mode is starting. Bunny saying, well, not going to forget that again. Now, it's crazy how often people forgot to build siege mode back in the day. I tell you what, though, first tank is out and you don't have siege mode, so you can't actually use that as a siege tank in defense right now. Gonna have that Banshee chasing away that group of roaches, so at least this attack from soO won't go anywhere. 44 to 32 workers favoring soO still. Starts up a Spire, double Evo chamber. Banshee's just not finding too much damage here overall. 8 workers killed from Bunny. It's going to be seeing the roaches still pulling into the upper right-hand side, so it's going to move in over there. The Banshee's still on the move a little bit as well at the moment. The shots firing up, and just going to be seeing the Spy about halfway done. Carapace upgrade coming in. All of that's setting up right now as our Overseer is still flying through the natural, and there's Banshee around the back. Gonna get rid of a drone already, so that drone gets taken down. The few queens just gonna go chasing that Banshee away down the right side as well. So there goes that Banshee pushed on out of here. Things do get a little wraparound, and a few of these Hellions are getting caught, so quite a bit of damage ended up being done there. Just going to see the Roach and the Lings get there. Fantastic job of it as the barracks floats off to the tech lab. Factory pops out. Another siege tank, and Bunny still just sat on these 2 bases, but he does have a third to put in position. He just needs to get somewhere that he can put it in position, right? So if he feels comfortable enough, maybe that will come to fruition. soO is currently supply blocked, but is on the verge of being able to build these mutas as well, so maybe there'll be something to talk about mutalisk-wise in the next few moments also. So nice to see soO playing again, isn't it just? You know, I've been trying to prioritize like casting soO games / replays and stuff lately, and it's been really fun to watch him play and seeing him do okay. You know, he's had some good games, he's had some worse games. Nice to see though. Big push from Bunny coming across the map, and the mutas are going to come in. They want to try and get rid of the tanks here initially. They're going to actually try and get reinforcements as well, as we see Mutalisks kind of low. One thing is the mutas don't regen as much as they do now as well, right? So Mutalisks don't regen anywhere near as much. And that's a factor. Once you take that damage on the mutas, they regen kind of slow, so it's kind of permanent damage as the bio army doesn't have stim yet. Oh, Bunny, why were we so far across the map? And I wasn't looking at the production tab. I kind of just assumed he had his upgrades. Why else would he push this deep onto Zerg territory? I know it's not on creep or anything, but I think he really misjudged how far away Stim still was. Yeah, well, that was, I don't know what that attack was, honestly. That was kind of weird as 1-1 upgrade stim pack. All going to be finishing momentarily here from Bunny. The meters going to fly into the main base and aim for some SCVs. One SCV going down. A couple of depots on the bottom corner are just going to start being picked away at as well, so the Muta's doing okay with that. Sending it back up into the left and just going to be seeing the Lings hanging out on the watchtower still. Those two carapaces now coming through as a couple more shots go off on those Mutas get being pushed back. Gonna find one reactor on the side here. Muta's finally getting the chance to be aggressive, and all because Bunny kind of took himself off the map by pushing too soon. Refinery is gonna go down here. SCV is still getting hit by the glaives, and the Muta's doing a great job of just, supply blocking Bunny, making it so that's very difficult for Bunny to build up, and soO has the numbers to easily jump on this army if needed. So I don't think Bunny's gonna find much love trying to push forward here. Marines come in, just going to see those couple drones push back. Spore Crawler there to push the medevac away as well. Just going to be seeing that one Baneling gets picked off. Some other Banes on the low ground here getting chewed through, and the Bioforce is going to get in on top of this hatchery. A couple Queens wandering it back just a little bit, and the Spore Crawler and the medevac continue to continue to work their way through medevacs. Bunny trying to get rid of this forward hatchery, but it honestly feels like soO should just stomp this force. And again, because those medevacs don't have boosts, they should just go down, right? And that honestly is one of the craziest things, is that the medevacs just have no escape ability. So if you lose a fight, you just don't really get to save very much. And okay, the maps are a bit smaller, so you don't have to get as far away to then be safe from reinforcements, but it does feel like just something extra that soO's able to just pick up an extra kill here and there, right? Able to do pretty well with that for the most part, as Mutas still around the middle. Is Muta bounce damage high in wall? I don't think so. Does anyone else know? The splash damage in Muta's being higher is... I don't think that's a thing. But again, so many changes over so many years, it's hard to know for sure, right? How do Terrans defend Mutas without mines? Splitting your Marines and Thors. Yeah, and because Mutas don't regenerate, usually in Legacy of War, these Mutas would be full HP again now. It means that anytime they take damage, they can't just come back in on full HP again. So whenever you actually push the Mutas back but don't quite get a kill, it's at least progress made on stopping the Mutas from being able to do much more. Oh my god, the Thor has energy. The Thor has energy! Stuns the target and deals 500 damage over 6 seconds. It stuns? I don't remember it stunning anything. He's going to come forward. Obviously, the Thor's here to try and fight the Mutas off. I think that's blown up, though. See, pulling back, fighting on this high ground is not really working too well for him at the moment. He's going to continue to come on forward, and it's going to be seen that Bioforce really coming around this bottom side, and he's getting a bit of a push going. Army supply is even, so it gives Bunny a chance, but you got to imagine that soO's just going to be able to rebuild way better than Bunny is. In we go. The Muta's taking quite a lot of damage off the Thor. They're very stacked up. The Thor might kill all the Mutas. It kills a lot of them. Is it enough? Army supply is still kind of even here as we come on in. Muta's continue to chase. I'm just going to be seeing the army of Bunny is going to get hunted down. Not going to be a lot left here at the end, but geez, that was a... just what a game we had here. GG's, and soO is going to take it. Can't believe the Thor had energy, guys. Can't believe the Thor had energy.